Yo, what up? What up? What up? I know it's late, but I just decided to go live. Whoever catches the replay, you can catch the replay. I just wanted to go over the fights, that we had tonight. It was a good night of boxing. I will say definitely it was one of the best heavyweight fights of all time. You know, I was very, very much, impressed with, you know, the the how that fight played out. It was a very, very, you know, uh, grueling. It was basically a war of attrition at the end of the day when it came down to it. Now, I want to talk about the other fights on the card, because I just don't want to talk about the heavyweight fights. But Robeisy Ramirez, let's talk about him first. Robeisy Ramirez, he's going to be ready for anybody at 126. Um, I think, though, honestly, Robeisy Ramirez, I think he would be even more dangerous if he moved down to 122. I think he can make that 122 weight, and I think if he moved down to 122, he would be even more dangerous. At this point, I think that at 126, he's just kind of blown up, you know. But nonetheless, Robeisy Ramirez, he's the real deal. Hand speed, outboxed Orlando Gonzalez, just really outboxed that guy. Um, just let the hands go, elusive, not getting hit, none of that. So I really respected Robeisy Ramirez. That again, Robeisy Ramirez is one of these silent guys coming through the ranks that um, nobody seems to talk about, nobody really sees, but man, he's a problem. Robeisy Ramirez is definitely a problem at 126. So kudos to him for his victory against Orlando Gonzalez. Now, you know, all I gotta say is may Allah help J Rock, may Allah instill the confidence needed in J Rock to, bounce back and have you know, just continue his career and have a just upward trajectory in his career still. But J Rock, he suffered another loss, and and the loss he suffered was against a guy named Vladimir Hernandez or something like that. And the thing is that the reason why J Rock lost the fight is he was simply just being outworked. He was simply just being out pressured. He was simply just allowing the other guy to just do that close body work and do that. And because he did let him do it, the judges had a split decision for for the other guy, Vladimir Hernandez. That's why they had a split decision for him because of the work rate. That guy was definitely doing a lot of work. Now, you know, where does J Rock go from here? Hopefully he still finds a way to bounce back. Hopefully he continues on and, learn from this loss like the other loss with Jason Rosario. Now, you have and I would say that he's actually the real big baby, but you have Jared Anderson, and he fought against a guy named another Vladimir, a Vladimir Chis something. But all I gotta say is that Jared Anderson dude, he's gonna be a problem at heavyweight. He has power. The thing is, he has a cumulative power. So maybe like it's not one punch knockout power, but it's that power that breaks you down. It's that power that eventually leads to the stoppage, and that's what happened tonight. You know, I believe it was just those shots that Vladimir dude was taking to the head that they made them in the fight. So kudos to Jared Anderson. I don't know, man. Maybe he'll be right there with those guys very soon. Like it's in the top of the heavyweight division because the heavyweight division, I will say that while it's deep, it's not. I guess it's not a lot of fights going around in the heavyweight division. You know what I mean? And so, man, oh boy. All I gotta say is if Edgar Berlanga goes anywhere near David Morrell Jr., he's getting starts for sure. Um, Edgar Berlanga, he is in so much love with his power that it cost him a lot of things in this fight. Although he got the unanimous decision, I believe he got the unanimous decision. But at the same time, he got dropped. Okay. And at the same time, he was loading up on his shots. I was like, man, this guy is loading up, trying to swing for the fences. And you cannot do that against an elite guy. You can't do that. You can't load up on your shots. And that's exactly what he was doing, just loading up, trying to shoot, load up, trying to shoot, load up, trying to shoot. And it's like, yo, man, it's not going to work. You know, he was putting everything on certain punches. And I think the problem is him having a one round KO ratio that gets to his head, unfortunately. So the other stuff goes out the window. And, because it did go out the window, he got dropped. And so that's why I say that if he goes anywhere near David Morrell Jr., he's going to have a lot of problems with him. He's going to have many, many issues with him. I mean, I don't know if he goes anywhere near people at 168, he may have some problems, man. He may have problems because he was just in so big a hurry to try to put the guy out of there. So we also have the Robert Helenius and Adam Kalinaki fight. And all I got to say is that Robert Helenius came there to fight, and Robert Helenius came there to do what he did before. Did like pick up where he left off, basically. And the thing is that's exactly what he did. He just opened up early, 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 and then by him opening up early, like he almost had Adam Kawinaki's eyes shut, in only the first round. So after like the first round, it was just pretty much unfortunately downhill for Kawanaki. So what Kawanaki resulted to is like low blows and things like that. And he had two low blows against Hellenius, and then he had a third low blow against him. And so that's when my my workout had to actually not my workout, but that's when they ended the fight. They ended the fight based on those three low blows because the thing is, Adam Kownacki was taking a lot of leather. He was eating a lot of leather. I'm telling you, Hellenius was putting it on him. And the thing is, Adam Kownacki, he only has one gear, and that one gear is just going forward. And so that wasn't going to be good enough for a person like Hellenius. You know, you needed several gears for that dude. You know what I mean? And I mean, Hellenius showed different looks. He showed angles. He showed things like that. You know, and so with him showing these things, it just was a wrap, man. So shout out to you know, Hellenius. He did his thing. He boxed, hurt him early, had his eyes shut early. He did his thing. And so three low blows and they stopped the fight. You know, they disqualified Kawanaki. I guess Kawanaki threw the low blows because he didn't want to get he just didn't want to get stopped. So he's like, the hell with this. Better get disqualified than me getting stopped. And I think that's what it came down to. Is he just rather would have gotten stopped or disqualified than stopped. You know what I mean? So, you know, the next fight I was very, very much intrigued about, but I kind of knew what was going to happen in the fight, but at the same time, I was hoping for a different outcome. But I kind of knew what outcome was going to come in the fight, and it was the Frank Sanchez and Fa Ajagba fight. And the whole thing is this: is that when Fa Ajagba was basically just like he was gun shy, bro. That's the thing. Fa Jogba was gun shy. You can't be gun shy, man. You got to risk some things. But the whole thing too is Frank Sanchez lightweight was gun shy too because he knew of the power of Fa Jogba, so he didn't really take any risk. All Frank Sanchez pretty much did, which I mean we already know that's what he was going to do, was just stay on the outside really. You know, he just stayed on the outside and just kind of like got his shit off when when Fa Jogba did try to throw. Yeah, everybody knew like Fa Jogba due to the fact that he's kind of slow that you know Frank Sanchez was going to capitalize off of that. You know? Everybody knew that he was going to capitalize off that slow and the fact that the 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 fact that like he was the better boxer, of course. You know, everybody knows that Frank Sanchez was the better boxer. But the thing is with Efe Ajagba is he needed to take more risk in the fight, and he needed to like again he's in love with his power, and because he is in love with his power. Um, he you know what I mean. He just tried to use it. He tried to use it, and again, you know, what it comes down to, you gotta just figure different ways out to to bring the power out. That's the whole thing. You gotta figure out different ways. And FA or Jogba didn't figure out different ways to do so. So that's why we have the results we had. Because, you know, FA Jogba again, he wanted to land the right hand, which is okay. Yeah, you want to land the right hand, but you can't just try to land the right hand in the same place, which F.A. Jogba was trying to do. Because he was trying to do that, you know, he got countered and he got dropped too by Frank Sanchez. But then Frank Sanchez hit him on the ground too. So I think they counted it as a knockdown, but they didn't give him they didn't give F.A. Jogba a count. They just counted it as a knockdown, and then they let let Frank Sanchez do his thing. So the fight was 10 rounds, and you know Frank Sanchez cruised away with a unanimous decision. Just outboxed him, you know. The thing is about, Frank Sanchez, man. I love my Cuban boxers so much, but it's hard for me to get behind Frank Sanchez for the simple fact that he is with that Eddie Reynoso camp, man. You know, I would love to get behind him more, but it's very hard to get behind him when he's with that camp, man. Very hard, you know. And I almost think I don't want to say this, but I almost think he may be cheating too, because he was all kind of like, I guess you can say he was more ripped than usual, you know. So that's why I kind of like feel the way I feel about Frank Sanchez. Although everybody knows I love my Cuban boxers. Everybody knows that. That's why I'm still choosing David Morrell to whoop Edgar Belanga's ass. But I don't think that fight will happen because I think Edgar Belanga's handlers will never put him in there with the David Morrell Jr. You know what I mean? Because the thing is about the whole fight with Edgar Berlanga is, he beat the guy up that he was fighting. He beat him up. But at the same time, it was like, okay, he dropped you. He got some stuff off too. And it's like, now you're still calling for other people. And it's like, calm down, man. Go take yourself to the drawing board. Because you definitely need to go there, man. You definitely need to go to the drawing board. So that's what happened. So now we move on to the main fight, the main event: Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury trilogy. All I'm gonna say is this: it was a good fight. Kudos to both fighters. They left everything out there, right? Everything was left out there in that fight. But again, it just shows the experience level and things like that. And here's what I'm going to say. In terms of with Deontay Wilder, his thing is he threw the whole kitchen sink at the beginning of the fight. He was going to the body with the jab and things like that. He was going to the body with the jab, going to the body with the jab, going to the body with the jab. But it was just like he did it so aggressively instead of just kind of timing, like pacing himself. That's the whole thing. It's just like he just came out so aggressively without pacing himself. That was the whole issue with the whole time, is that he really needed to pace himself, but he didn't pace himself. And because he didn't pace himself, the way it lasted 11 rounds was just sheer willpower by Deontay Wilder. But again, with Deontay Wilder, I'm just going to be honest. When we look at the fight, he reverted back to old Deontay Wilder. He felt that, okay, I softened up his body enough. But you have to understand something. Tyson Fury's hands weren't dropped when he softened up his body. The hands still weren't low enough. You know what I mean? So Deontay Wilder, he just again threw the whole kitchen sink, and then he started trying to go for them right hands. He tried to go for those right hands, and the thing is this. This is the thing about it. This is the thing about the whole fight. those right hands, you can't really throw those right hands all the time. And that's what Deontay Wilder was doing, unfortunately. Deontay Wilder was loading up on those right hands. He was trying to like wing those right hands. But I kid you not, through like round, I want to say like round, maybe like round, oh man, I'm trying to think of the rounds. Maybe through like round, yeah, round 4 through yeah, let's just say that. Round 4 through 11, Deontay Wilder was trying to shoot those right hands still. He was trying to do the same right hand, throwing that right hand. And here's the thing about that. The thing is that Tyson Fury was so heavy, and Tyson Fury was putting his body weight against Deontay Wilder to tire him out. Because you have to understand something. Tyson Fury came in at 277. Deontay Wilder came in at 238. Deontay Wilder needs to understand that he wasn't gonna knock out Tyson Fury unless he softened him up, which he didn't do. All he was trying to do was shoot that straight left or that straight right. He went back to vintage Deontay Wilder, and it cost him, you know, because Tyson Fury, being the skilled boxer, being the skilled boxer that he is, he just used some angles at times, and he also was aiming for Deontay Wilder's eardrum, and he hit his eardrum on more than one occasion. And then by the time he hit the eardrum again, that it was a wrap. His that equilibrium was gone at that time in the 11th round. That's really what really occurred, in the fight. Deontay Wilder, I do respect him. I respect him for going out on the shield, but at the same time, bruh, you were throwing that right hand too much. Tyson Fury was going to see that right hand a mile away, and he was going to eat that right hand because he's 270 pounds, bro. I have to understand that. If a tree, listen, if a tree is like, if a tree is big, right? You don't, you chop the tree down. You don't just try to go like knock down the tree. You have to try to chop it down first. And Deontay Wilder didn't do that. So, kudos to Tyson Fury overcoming adversity and doing his thing and winning the fight. Kudos to him. I got to give him his props. Got to give him his respects. I mean, I already called Tyson Fury to win the fight anyway. I said Tyson Fury was going to win the fight, but at the same time, the fight kept me on the edge of my seat. I was surprised that Deontay Wilder's his his tenacity. I was very surprised at it. I was surprised at his tenacity. I was surprised that he was throwing shots, sometimes different shots, but at the same time, it's like he threw the kitchen sink at Tyson Fury too early, and then went back to trying to shoot right hands all the time. Tyson Fury was going to see the right hands. So that's all she wrote. But anyhow, I'm going to get off here. I just wanted to do a real quick little live about the fight recap. You know what I mean? It was a good night of boxing. I can't wait. I honestly can't wait for the Shakur Stevenson fight more than anything else. Um, Can't wait for the Andre fight to come. That's my guy. And also, I think David Morrell is back in fighting camp too. So I can't wait to see Osvaldo David Morrell Jr. back in action. And hopefully, I think what's going to happen is we're going to see Aswari David Morrell Jr. on that undercard of Tank and Rolly. And inshallah, what I'll probably do with that is I'll probably try to get into since it's going to be in LA, since most of the event is going to be in Los Angeles, what I'll try to do is I'll try to get some coverage, of that event, put it on the channel. Hopefully, I can get Oswari if he is fighting in that on that card. Oswari David Morrell on here, and also get some other people on here too. So looking forward to that Tank and Rolly fight as well. It's going to be in LA. Thinking about actually going to that fight. But I mean, as far as what's next, I don't know. Maybe Deontay Wilder should just, I don't know what's next for Deontay Wilder. Truthfully speaking, I mean, it's only right for Tyson Fury to take on the winner of the Usyk Joshua rematch, but also maybe he may be keen to give tell Anthony Joshua to take some step aside money so Usyk and Fury can fight, for undisputed. Yeah, but yeah, it was a good night boxing. Looking forward to the other fights coming up, and yeah. But anyhow, man, that's all I got. We're signing out. Um, Jarama, maybe next time. I know it was late, so nobody really came through and participated, but probably next Friday I'll do another live stream, and it'll be earlier. That way we can get people on the panel. But anyhow, Fula signing out. And Jarama.